Welcome into the Michigan State Hockey Hub podcast. We are here after a brief hiatus. Michigan State didn't play last weekend. And after that football game and the Michigan game before that, I needed some hockey, man. I needed it. So happy to be back. Glad to see Michigan State back on the ice because that football team is tough to watch right now. Michigan State enters this weekend, and this is their first Big Ten opponent. I like that. I'm ready to get into Big Ten play. I like non-conference stuff. I like playing kind of unique teams and whatnot, but I'm ready for the standings to start moving. So Michigan State comes back to Munn here to play Ohio State. This is the first series of an all Munn November, I believe, minus the exhibition against the U.S. development team, which is still in Michigan. They don't have to travel this month, which is great. I think it's great. This is a really important month to set the tone, and it starts with Ohio State this weekend. Now, if you remember preseason, Ohio State was finished to pick last in the Big Ten. Whatever that means. Preseason rankings, I don't know how much to read into them. Um, we've seen them change a lot, but people who are smarter than me thought Ohio State would finish last, and they might. We're still early in the season, and we're still getting results that we don't know what to make of. We don't know if sweeping team X, Y, and Z is as impressive as it may look on paper. Take all this with a grain of salt. Their schedule is, or excuse me, their record 7-0-1. Impressive nonetheless. I don't care who you play. It's tough to win every game. It's tough to, the one loss in overtime, whatever. But man, 7-0-1 for Ohio State. How did they get there? Their biggest result of the year was sweeping Wisconsin, a team that was really, really solid last year, a team that was projected to finish right behind Michigan State at near the top of the Big Ten standings going into the season, and a team that hasn't exactly put up the results that most expected. Sweeping Wisconsin on the road, I remember when that happened, I was kind of like, oh, wow. Does this say more about Wisconsin or does this say more about Ohio State? Time will tell. Maybe Ohio State's better than we thought. Maybe not. The other opponents that they played this year, they swept Lake Superior State. Spartans saw them. Lake State's 1-5 on the year. They swept Bowling Green. Bowling Green's 5-3, and they swept American International, who is 1-5-1. I just don't know. I just don't know what to make of this team. I haven't watched a lot. I've watched like the condensed games. That's typically what I'll do to kind of get a feel for some of the players. I'm just not sure, but we are going to learn a lot this weekend. Michigan State, top 5 team, number 4, and right now it's a big matchup for Ohio State, but also a big matchup for Michigan State. We'll get more into the Michigan State side near the end. Ohio State they have not allowed more than 3 goals this year. Keep in mind their opponents. They currently allow 1.63 goals per game. That's top 5 in the nation. Michigan State slightly above them. They're like just point something right above them. So far it's been 2 teams that have not allowed too many goals going off against each other. OSU's top line is their best line. Fontaine, Thompson, Burnside. Fontaine's a grad transfer. He came over from Northwestern. Wasn't a major goal scorer coming in. Just looking at his stats, a career high of 10 goals in a season, which, isn't bad by any stretch, but not exactly lighting up the score sheet either. More of the distributor on the line. Thompson's a sophomore, big guy, 6'4", kind of a big frame, talented player too. He leads the team with 10 points right now, 3 goals, 7 assists. He came over as a transfer from Alaska Anchorage. A lot of movement, a lot of transfers brought into this team. Kind of reminds me of what happened at Michigan State when they just started bringing in new people with the coaching change. Burnside's the captain. He is a junior. Now, the depth on this team is where I start to look at Ohio State and start to kind of have some questions. They did bring in experience. They brought in 4 grad transfers. 4. And one of them is Joe Dunlap. He's on the second line. Max Montes is on that line as well. He centers that line. He's a little bit of a smaller guy, but definitely has some skill to him. He does lead the team with 6 goals this season. The bottom 6 of this roster for Ohio State kind of mix and match. Some players kind of filter in, kind of like Michigan State's done, where they've entered some freshmen and then let them sit and trying to work out, but to a larger extent with the Buckeyes. Their bottom 6 is almost all freshmen and sophomores, very inexperienced. They do have Nathan Lewis, who's this big 6'6" guy. I mean, you won't miss him. Big bodied forward, but not a lot of scoring in that bottom 6, at least not yet. Now, again, like I said, they're young. That doesn't mean they're not talented players. We know how long it can take some talent to start transitioning into production when you're that young coming into college and not having that much experience. It could click at any moment. I'm not saying they don't have any talent on their bottom 6, but they aren't as proven as Michigan State, who has more talent in their depth, and we'll get to that later as well. Their defense, top line of Carfagna, I think I'm saying that right, and Hansen Bukata, they've really factored into the offense so far. Carfagna has 3 goals, 6 assists, and 9 points. Only 11 career goals. Hansen Bukata is a line of 1 goal, 7 assists, 8 points, 76 career assists for him. Bit experience there. Brent Johnson's a senior, 3rd round draft pick by the Capitals in, I believe, 2021. And the rest are, again, freshmen and sophomores. So there is some weird mixture on this team of grad transfers, kind of bringing in experience as opposed to growing experience, and a lot of youth being mixed in. Michigan State does have the experience edge on this team, in my opinion. Their goalies have been a split between sophomore Christoph Eberle and senior Logan Turnus. Eberle saw 14 games last year. You all may know his name. A 911 save percentage last year, 954 this year, but it's only been 4 games. We'll see if the Spartans can help tick that down. Turnus started his career at UConn, came over to Ohio State last year. His first season with Ohio State posted a 904 save percentage. This year, 919, just over 2 goals allowed per game. I think Michigan State has the edge at goalie. I mean, it's not crazy to say Michigan State's going to have the edge at goalie with most of their matchups this year. That's not to knock Ohio State's duo there, but I think the Spartans are in a good position. Keys to the game. You got to win on special teams here. I know that's like the easiest key to throw into any game, but Ohio State is 2 for 25. 2 for 25, 8% on the power play. That's 50th in the country. Michigan State's penalty kills 15th, clicking at 88.9%. OSU's penalty kill, 87%, just below it. And, the Michigan State power play, I'd like to see a little bit more. It's not that it's been bad. It's at 15% right now. Early in the season, things trying to click, some new faces. I think that they have the talent to get above 20% and stay above 20%. But I even have higher expectations, 24%. It can get kind of absurd. And like I said, sample size, but 15% so far. Got to do better. Michigan State's scoring depth needs to capitalize here. Again, the bottom 6, I'm looking at these matchups and I'm thinking, okay, we've got Tanner Kelly, Tiernan Shouty, some players with experience, some players who have scored, and they're not elite goal scorers by any means, but they've shown a lot more at the collegiate level. You're a top 5 team. You have a hot team coming in to your home ice. You got to play all 4 lines well, and you got to show them how much your experience makes the difference here. Top 6, Scoring, great. That's great. Isaac Howard's been incredible. I'm sure he'll continue to be good. I'm expecting or relying on some of the depth this weekend to step up. We need a goal from a freshman. Still have not seen that. Every single goal from Michigan State has come from a junior or senior. Every single goal from Michigan State this season, granted 6 games, junior and senior. Now, yeah, there's caveats there. Yeah, well, they have more juniors and seniors playing big minutes and top lines. Yes, I know. It's just a stat to point out. Would love to get somebody going. Gavin O'Connell's the name I come to. How do you get him going? A lot of his goals last year were in and around the net, rebounds, stuff that and I know in college hockey you see a lot more goals around the net. His goals were I don't like to call them puck luck because there's plenty of skill involved and plenty of good shots. When I watched every one of his goals this offseason, I thought, oh wow, that was an opportunistic bounce that landed on his stick. And when it happens that often, it's one of those deals where oh yeah, you're creating your own luck. You know where to be, you're in good position, you're between the goalie and the defense, you're finding that lane to get in there. It's not just luck. There's skill involved. I need to get Gavin O'Connell going. I think he could really be a catalyst in some sense to help propel this team to a higher level of play. With Big Ten play coming now and more important games, if you will, with standings actually shifting and whatnot, and some better opponents, we need more players to step up. Another key to the game. Michigan State, I mentioned this already, but I wanted to bring it back. Michigan State has the third best goals against per game at 1.5. OSU's just right behind them at 1.6. Which goalie is going to step up? Which defense is going to help aid their goalie? The defense as a collective of the team, not just the blue liners. Can Michigan State look a little bit cleaner in their own zone at times? It's not even in their own zone as much as it is with rushes or breakouts and defending that and kind of in the neutral zone. What does that look like? Have they improved there? I think Michigan State is going to win this game Friday, and I think they're going to win Saturday too. I'm predicting a sweep, and I don't often do that. I will with some lesser teams, and splitting's not a big deal. College hockey's hard. Winning back-to-back games is very hard, and I just think you're in a different class than Ohio State. And we need to start viewing Michigan State that way. They're a top 5 team. This isn't 2022 where they're trending upwards, but oh man, they need experience. They need this. They need a couple more. No, Michigan State's at the level where you should expect to protect your home ice against a team like Ohio State. Not to take anything away from Ohio State, Michigan State's in a different echelon, a different level than Ohio State in my mind. Last thing before we get out of here. I don't know if this is fair. And again, small sample. Good to have large takeaways. These aren't takeaways. I'm just going to call them observations. Something I'd like to see. Something I'm watching for, if you will. I need that breakout player. The unexpected player who just starts trending in a direction that we didn't see. Maybe Tanner Kelly. I kind of see his skill set over the years as this is what we've seen from him, which is some really good play. I kind of expected that. Who's the player that can help? Gavin O'Connell, who I mentioned, same vein there. I think Charlie Schrammel, he's been good. And I think just having a really solid second line center, I like that role for him. How much more, how much better can he get? What's his ceiling? What's his floor? I don't know. Coming into the year, high draft pick, really underproduced at Wisconsin. Is that his floor? I need a lot more than what his floor was at Wisconsin. And I think he's shown that so far. How high is that ceiling? That's my question. Anything else here? That's all that I have. a lot of opportunities to get out to Munn. And I think that it's awesome that we get this opportunity to just have a bunch of games at Munn, especially at the end of the football season. It's winding down. It's been fine. I don't want to talk football. Basketball starting up and whatnot, but like get out to Munn, support these kids. Hot ticket, tough to get. I understand all that. If you're still on here right now, thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, drop a comment. I always forget to say in the beginning to just comment Go Green. Comment your thoughts. I want this to be a discussion in some way. If you have questions or whatnot, drop them as well. We will be getting guests back on. We will. It's difficult to line these people up, especially with my schedule and me kind of recording these whenever I have time throughout the week. I'm done traveling for the year, so it should be more regular. I spent 10 out of 13 days on the road, and it's just hard to do that and do this as well. No excuse. We'll be back. We will be doing the show I do each year where I have on Jeremy and Nate, and maybe I see who else I can get on to discuss kind of the first half of the season. So be on the lookout for that. Go Green.